These all are some of the key data collection methods or tools used in monitoring and evaluation. First one, we are moving to the case study. Case study is an analysis of a project or campaign or a company that identifies situations, recommends solutions, implementation actions, and identification of those factors that contribute to failure or success. So, in a case study, we can identify the situations, then recommend solutions, and implement actions, and also identify the failure or success of a project. And also, each case study has a detailed description of the community, individual, and organization. They also helps to evaluate the complex situations and exploring the qualitative impact. So, in general, case studies helps to evaluate the complex situations, then recommend solutions, then also implement the actions, and also identifies the situations, and also identify what are the failures or success. It also helps to illustrate findings and include comparisons. Here, we can compare two or more case studies together, which has some commonalities, and we can also combine some or more case studies together so that we can draw a single conclusion. Case studies can be handwritten or it can be presented in the form of photographs, drawings, and videos, or it can also be presented as songs or dramas. There is no fixed size for a written case study. It can vary from a few lines to an entire book. Case studies can also be of many other types. It can be, if it is conducted in a group or an individual, it differs. So, if a case study is conducted in an individual, it includes individual's experiences of progress and its change. It also includes the success, challenge, barriers, and learnings the individual have during the project. If it is carried in a group, or in a community or in a stakeholder, it also includes what are the organizational experiences or change that happen during the project time. Then case study can also be called as stories of change. There are different types of case studies. They are best cases, typical or representative cases, illustrative cases, comparative cases, and learning cases. So best cases. Best cases are often the best and the most important changes in which the project or the program has contributed. That means it includes the most important change that will happen in the project time. The typical or representative cases include the typical effect that project or program have on people, community, and organization. That means the case in which a typical effect is made on the project. For example, if a project which supports 100 households, a representative case study means it shows the changes of one household to estimate the overall changes in the all households. So, a typical or the representative case can be selected. And then illustrative cases. Here, illustrate is used to illustrate a key point or a message. That means it helps to get more in-depth information about the particular situation, particular finding, and by which we can draw into a conclusion. Then comparative cases, by which we can compare two or more different situations. So, for an example, in the previous example, we can say that we are comparing two or more households and what are the changes happened in those households, by which we can draw into a conclusion about the whole project. Then learning cases, in which they are used to communicate significant learning that can be used to help improve the performance in future. So learning cases helps to improve the performance in future. So it will also helps indirectly the project for its success. Then the content of a case. The content of a case or a story of change include an introduction, then the situation, the change, analysis, lessons and recommendations and others. That means an introduction to include what is the title, what is the purpose that we are going to do this case study, then the situation, in which case is taken under study, then what is the change that occurred in that particular time for the project, and analysis. That means we are analyzing is it good or it's bad, and in this lessons and recommendations we will recommend if it results in a failure, we recommend what changes should be made to make it a success. Such things all come under a case study. Then the next one is reviews. Reviews are a structured opportunity for reflection to identify key issues and concerns and make informed decisions for effective project or program implementation. That means for the implementation of a program, the key issues or concerns are identified. This is called review. That means reviews can be conducted in different methods using secondary data or from primary data. Secondary data includes the baseline information, then the cost effectiveness also can be. Such data include the reviews of such data or the documents helps to conduct a review of the whole project. It also includes reviewing the project records, then reports, administrative databases, then training materials, then videos, electronic data. That means if some programs are conducted during the project time, some trainings are given, such videos about that training or the photographs about the training, all this can be reviewed. By this we can understood the or we can analyze the whole project. Then OECD, that means Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, they had given a definition for review. That means it is an assessment of the performance of an intervention periodically or an ad hoc basis. So, review is an intervention, or it may be periodical or regular. An intervention, that means an assessing the whole project. A review can be regular or ad hoc, or it can be formal or informal, then broad or narrow, internal or external, or any combination of these. A review can focus on any level of the intervention. It can focus on an organization, region, country, sector, strategy, working approach, etc. Then many CSOs means civil society organization. They has self-conducted self-reviews to enhancing their own monitoring processes. That means they self-evaluate their own internal staffs to participate in these reviews. Sometimes they also make their stakeholders or the beneficiaries are also invited to participate in these reviews. So by these reviews they can identify the failures and also change those failures to successes. So reviews are conducted at annually or quarterly level, and it also helps the members or the staffs or the internal staff, also the beneficiaries, to understand what is the purpose of such a project, then how it is affecting the others, or what all changes can be made, or what is there could meet their target. All these are analyzed during these reviews. Then next tool is called stories. Stories is an account or recital of an event or a series of events. That means, as we discussed in case study, it is also a typical event we are considering here, and discussing about a typical event. Success stories illustrates impact by detailing an individual's positive experiences in his or her own words. There can be success stories. So the success stories include the positive experiences, and learning stories. In learning stories focuses on the lessons learned through individuals' positive and negative experience. That means both positive and negative experiences are considered in a learning story, and in a success story you will consider only the positive individual experiences. Then the next one important tool is called interview. We already know that interview can be conducted in different methods. So interview with the person can be called key informant interview. That is a person who have a special information to say or special information to share with. So such an interview can be carried out. Then interviews can be carried out in an open-ended manner or in a cross-ended manner. So if using open-ended questions, it can be called as open-ended interview. So the question should give the interviewer should allow them to give an in-depth knowledge or in-depth answer, so we can collect an in-depth information about the whole project. Then if close-ended questions are asked, that means a close-ended interview is taken, then it will include yes or no questions, or otherwise using rating or numbering scale methods are used. All this helps to statistically analyze the whole project. Then there are different types of interviews can be conducted. They can be individual interviews, group interviews, semi-structured interviews, formal interviews, and focus group discussions also can be conducted. In group interviews, we said that group interviews can also be called as community interviews, in which we can conduct a public meeting or gather all the people together and interact with all the participants. By this, we can gather more information about the whole project. For example, interviews may provide information for a survey or a case study. So interviews also helps to provide information for a survey or a case study or a story of change. They also helps for a better monitoring and evaluation method, and it also helps to understanding the qualitative issues also. Then one of the other tools which we have to mention is that life stories. That means by identifying the life history, sorry, not life stories, life history. That means by identifying the life histories of a project, we can identify that what all things has gone, what are the steps the project goes through, then is there any failures, then why that failure occurs. All this can be identified and can be corrected, and it also helps to lead to a successful project. So that's all. Concluding, case study, interview, story, life history, and reviews. These are the different tools used for monitoring and evaluation. That's all. References. Thank you.